Right, so here is an example of application. If I go to a browser, search for smsoftware.org. This is our application. So this is what we have. This is what we are going to do. We are going to deploy our application like this one. So I can go to any browser, find that application is here. This is Microsoft. This is Microsoft Edge. Okay, now application is here. We can view, and then you can also see that the application is very fast enough. So deploying Node.js app to Google Cloud Platform Computer Engine. Hello guys and welcome back to SM Software. What you learn: setting up a virtual machine on GCP, installing and configuring Node.js and the necessary dependencies, setting up an instance group, configuring a load balancer, pointing your domain to Google, deploying a Next.js or main stack application, managing and scaling your application on Computer Engine, securing your deployment with best practice. Okay guys, well, we appreciate your support for our channel. If you found this content helpful, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you for being part of our community. Consider joining our memberships for exclusive content and packs. Alright, my name is Shaban Muswamba and let's get started. Welcome back. Alright, so to get started, a few things here we need to do. First of all, you need to have an account, GCP account, Google Cloud Platform account. And for you to set up an account, Google required a credit card or debit card. So once you set up an account, you'll be redirected. You'll be redirected here. Okay, so from here you'll need to enable some service. We need the computer engine and Cloud DNS. So these are services we need to enable. So we'll enable another one later, but for now we need these two. So what are steps we need to follow here? First of all, we need to point our domain. I have a domain. This is my domain actually. SM software. So if you try to access this domain, you see that it's pointing to something else, because it's not pointing to anything right now. So I need to point it to Google. So to point that to Google, we need to create first of all the Cloud DNS server, domain name server. So with that, it should help us now to start now loading our domain, and then also point now, create now a load balancer, front end and the back end. So with the load balancer, we will now set point to the same IP address. So our domain DNS server, domain name servers, and load balancers will point to the same IP address. So that now the same IP address, which will now be used for our virtual machine. So we need to create first of all to create or set up the DNS server. So click on that, and then this will take you to create a zone. So from here, since I have a domain, I can just give it the same name for the domain, same software, and then this one is supposed to be the domain name. This could be a domain name or subdomain name. Right, you can give it the description. I can skip that and leave everything as default. So I'm just going to create now that zone. All right, the zone was created successfully. All right, now you see we have now the record. These are record data which we need now to use to point now where our domain is hosted right now. So we need now to point our domain to this one. All right. So I want to open now that mine, so I can show you I can show you what I mean actually. All right. So here is my domain. Here is my where I'm hosting my domain. So if you don't know how to find this, you can contact your host service provider. So this can help you find how they can help you to set up the custom name servers. So you can see we have 5 here which I need to set. So if I go back to here, um, so I can copy one by one. I copy the first one, add the first one here, and second one. Second one. We don't need that last one. This one too. Sorry. We don't need that one. Sorry, supposed to copy this one. So forget about the first one. We need this one. We need actually some name servers which we need, and this one. And this one. So I'm just going to save this one. Right. After set up the recorder, just be aware that the change can take up to 24 hours. But is also another way you can do this. You can go to edit a recorder. Instead of hours, let's set to second. This one, so that we can see the change very quick. Let's save that. Okay. The first one too. Let's see. This first one too. Let's set to second. But you can always change it to later. Doesn't matter. For now, we just want to see the domain. So if we try to reload again, I think we need to give it some more seconds so that you can propagate. So the domain can propagate properly. This may take a couple of seconds. All right, couple of seconds or minute. Okay. This is it for printing the domain. As you are waiting for the domain to propagate, we can also go ahead now and create a load balancer, load balancing. So you can open this in a new tab. All right, so here we need to create a load balancer. All right, so to create a load balancer, you can go and click create a load balancer. Just go next. Okay, take next. Global single region. Okay, next. And next. Config. Again. So we need to give a name for our load balancer. Some software load balancer. So we give it a name. So and then you start with the front end. Some software. Some software. LB front end. LB for load balancer front end. Okay, so we need a couple of things in here. For the front end, protocol is HTTPS. Okay, the port is the port is 443, 403, and the certificate, we can create a new certificate here. We can create a certificate, SSL certificate. We can do SMS software SSL. We don't need that. Don't need description. You can add it. Is not required. So we want to use we want to use Google SSL. So select create manage create manage SSS create manage certificate. So for the domain, we want to pass now your domain you want to use. SM software.org. I want to use this one, and also www.smsoftware.org, and I can also use I don't know, anything else you want to use to that is fine. Kind of blog, and do blog.smsoftware.org, and also add like projects mm, projects.smsoftware.org, and you can add any subdomain, it doesn't matter, and the members.smsoftware.org. You see, right? So these are domain. You can add more, it doesn't matter, there's no limit for the number, and then just create. So this will create our SSL. Okay, the SSL is ready. Now we select that one. It's selected. Next, we want to use a public. We want to use our IP address. So here I have an IP address which was created. I was using before, so I can select this one. But if you don't have it, you can click create IP. So this will just give a name for your IP address and then reserve. This will reserve your IP address. Since I have another one, I don't want to create one. Just be aware that IP address, a reserve or static IP address is expensive if you are not using it. It's free, but if you are not using it, it's expensive. Right. So I select this one. I'm going to use this one. All right, and this one is correct. I keep everything as the default. So I want to redirect all HTTP to HTTPS. So for this one to work, you make sure that here you are using the static IP address. Just be aware of that. The rest of the things can leave that default. It's no matter. Okay, so let's create now our back end. For back end, we don't have any back end yet, but I can create one. I can create a back end, which this one will require. So first of all, what I want to do first, I want back end to require to have an instance group, instance group. So which we don't have. But I can open this one. I can open this. Let me try to open this. Now different table. So I want to show you how we can automatically, okay, at the same time create a backend. We can create the instance group. So these are instance group, but I want to create an instance template. Instance template. I want to create a name. I want to set a name. Let's say SM software instance template for groups for group. This is actually enough. All right, so we going to have the name, and for the instance I want to select the cheapest one, which is this one, micro. This one will give $7, so that means 0.01 cents per hour. And okay, I can change this. So for the disk, for the machine or operating system, I want to use Ubuntu. I want to select Ubuntu, and then I leave the size. The minimum is 10 GB. Okay, and then just select that. What else do I need to do here? So for this one, for allow default accesses, okay? For firewall, I want to allow HTTP traffic, and then allow also HTTPS, and then allow also load balance health check. For advanced, I don't really have much there to do for advanced. If you go back to the top, we don't have much here to do. So I can just click create. Right, the instance is there, instance template is there. So we can see that here we can create a machine, an instance. You can also create a group. So first of all, I want to create a group, instance group, because it's the group you want to use for the load balancer. Right, so for the group, I want to manage everything by myself. I don't want to I don't want Google to manage data. So I want to select this one, new unnamed, manage instance group. So this is going to be SM software instance group. And then, yeah, everything else is the default. We don't need to select any instance here because we will manage it from the instance template. We can add a description, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to create the instance group. All right, the instance group is there. This is the one. We have instance. This is this one. I used this before, so I don't need to. There's no matter with this one. This is the one we created at the time. You can see this one was created a long time ago for testing. All right, so back here, what we want to do, first of all, let's try to refresh a little bit. Okay, so for back end, I want to select create a backend service, not bucket. Create backend service, select that, and then want to give the name SM software LB backend, and then so the instance group we want to use this one, this one. This is the one here. This is the one we will select to use. Okay, so for port allow is 8. You can add more port here, but we just want to port 8. What else do you need up here? Nope. Yeah. That's correct. So you can enable CDN, content delivery network. If you want to enable that, it's good. Health check. Health check, we can create one if you don't have one. So just give it a name, SM software, main health checker, maybe something like that. So for the port 8008, port 8, and we can leave everything default. Just create the health check. That's it, and just create the back end. So the back end was created successfully. Click OK. That's correct. So you can confirm, check the rules, confirm, review if you want to review. But I'm just going to create. Click create. So this will create now the load balancer. So this is going to take a time to set up everything. Alright, so once everything was created successfully, you see the message here, successfully created load balancer. Alright, so we want to now to connect our load balancer to our domain. Okay, to connect a load balancer to our domain, you need to go to Cloud DNS again, which is the one we used for our domain. Okay, so we want to go to our zone, cloud zone. So from here, you can see that we need to point to our static IP address. So I want to show you where is this IP address. If you type IP, sorry, IP address. Okay, this is the IP address you are using. So remember, I showed you where you can create an IP address. So once you create an IP address, you will come here as a static. So from here, where we want to use that IP address here. All right. So if we don't have this one yet, if you don't have this one and this one, you can just click add record, and then you can add the record, which is add the supported cloud the recorder, cloud DNS record type. So once you select that, you can select how many minutes you want. Let's say, for example, second, and then select now the IP address, this one. But for me, this one will get an error because I have A already. So I have the domain name. I have a record for this one already here. So for you, it will work if you don't have this ready. I'm talking about this one. This one, the A type. Okay, so if you want to now to add also this version, you can see this version. You can just go to the version if you don't have it already, and then we want to now to point to our IP address, that IP address. So you'll select here. This is the IP address. You can see this is the only IP address I have. Select and then add. So this is the only IP address I have. This one here. So why I have it ready, because I wanted to add it before. So this should take time. It can take 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So I didn't want it to wait for all that long. All right. So you can assign or add all the subdomain. We have all your subdomains here. So point them to different IP address or the same IP address. So how it works is that the IP address, if for example, I take this IP address here and then I type it online here. So this IP address is to load the load balancer, which is our load balancer. It is the IP address points to our load balancer. Load balancer. So if you see our load balancing list, which one we have? So this is the one we have. So load balancing. So you can see that we have back ends and front ends. So if you take the front end, this is an example of the front end. This is the one we created earlier. So if I open this one, we want to see where is this one connected to our back end. This is now the back end. So just our front end load balancer is using. So anytime you make a request to this one, you load this load balancer, and then load balancer, you load now our back end here. You connect to our back end here. So if you just do, or see this, sorry, this was the back end, and this is the front end. This one is a redirect. Let's talk about this one first. So if I take this front end here, where is it connecting to our back end? You can see that the target is targeting the back end, which is this one here, load balancer. This is the target. And yeah, this is this is our back end. This is where the target is targeting our back end proxy. Right. So if you take now the which is now this one, redirect. So the job for this one is just anytime you make a request, you make a request to using HTTP or a request to HTTP and secure request. So this will redirect back to our front end load balancer, which is this one. And then this one we load our load balancer, which is this guy here. So our back end load balancer, if you take it, you see we want to see now the you can see here is that it is in use by load balancer, which is that front end, which is our front end load balancer. This one is in use by this one. Okay, so for our front for our back end, where now is it connecting to our instance group. So this is now the back end. This is now the instance group we are using. So if we have instance group is listed here. This is the instance group. So once now we load the connected to our instance group, so our instance group we got now the instance template. Instance group is used by that load balancer, which is here, and then we also got the instance template. We don't have v virtual instance. We don't have here, but instead we are using instance template. So which is a bit organized. So if you want to use that, it's a bit organized. Or if you want to add more, I don't know, more. If I want to show you that one, where is it? Yeah, this is the instance template. It's a bit organized. So the system, the operating system or machine you are using, the disk, the storage, all of that one. So managed by the instance template. So you can see this is what we have. For example, here I can say, okay, I want to create a virtual machine. So just click here and then create a virtual machine. So that virtual machine will automatically attach to this instance group. You can see that this is the instance group and then this is the virtual machine. And then also you see that automatically set the price. So any machine you will create, it will automatically set this price. So you don't need to do the settings, whatever. If you see we are using Ubuntu, all these settings, so they are already included there. So security, for example, protect all of this, they are already included there. So what you can only do is click create. So this will create an instance group. So that is the benefit of using an instance template. So we just set the template for the settings you want. Anytime you want on a new virtual machine, so just click create a new VM. This will create a new VM. So once you create a VM, and then this from our static IP address now, once you load now, we will be able to load now our back end and then also load our instance, all of that. So the instance is that now where you store the everything. It is actually the machine where you create the operating system, add the server, all of that. We are going to install that in a VM. All right, we are waiting for our instance, and then we can now start creating now or start now installing the operating system and update all of that. So this is our VM, this is our instance. So this IP address is supposed to be private. This one is supposed to be private. So this one is not accessible by the end users. This is supposed to. This one is private. Why is private? Because if anyone get access to this IP address, it can actually break the machine, can actually access your system through this IP address. You see, so that's the importance that we use. That's why we are using the static IP address, because this one does not change. This one doesn't change. Instead of user to see this one, user load the load balancer and then load balancer load the front end load balancer load now the back end load balancer, and then the back end load balancer load now the instance groups. So that means any instance group associated with that instance group, any VM virtual machine associated with that instance group will be loaded to the front end user. So user can't see the IP address associated with this one through the browser. All right, so first thing we need now to open this. To open this one, you can just click SSH. So this will open the SSH browser, Google SSH browser. So this is easy to install is easy to set up and then install all the dependencies. All right, let's go and do that. All right, so once you open, you get this shell, this terminal. So what we want to do is we want to first of all um, update and upgrade. So you can do sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade like this, but we want to accept everything, dash y. So this will update our system and then also upgrade. Right. Next we can do, I have another command here. So what you can do next is we want to install Node.js, install Node.js and then also install um, npm. So can copy this one, copy or type this one, and then we're going back to our terminal, and I'm just going to paste this one here. So this will install Node.js and then also install npm. Right here. Next, we can check from. Let's check for version faster. So to check the version, I can do node dash v to see the version. This is the current version. This is the installed version. Then I can also do npm dash v. So this is the current version of npm. Okay, what next do you want to do? We also want to install Nginx for the server. I can do sudo apt and then install Nginx and then dash y. All right. I can also restart the system, but since this is a browser, so I prefer restart um, from the from my Google Cloud. Okay. But before installing that, before restarting that, so I want to show you if you do cd dash back, so this will take us to the home page. So I want to see the Nginx. Since we install the Nginx, so we can do sudo. First of all, let's see that Nginx we have. So can do cd ht, this one, cd ht atc and then ls. Nginx is here, so you can do cd Nginx and then ls to see what you have in Nginx. So we have config, we have available site. This is our available site. if you go to see to available site cd, we only have the default. So if you go cd default, no, default, actually you can do nano, sudo nano to see what we have. So this is the default we have. You can see the default configuration. So we will need to make modification on here. A lot of things here we need to do. But before that, we need to restart first of all our VM, virtual machine. I can close this one and go back to the server to our Google Cloud, and then I want to reload a little bit. Let's see, reload. All right, so VM instance, this is the instance we have. So this is the one we use to install the whatever the operating system, to install the dependencies, all of this. But I want to restart it. I can reset since we installed some dependencies, so we need to reinstall it to restart it. So this is going to take time. It's going to take a couple of seconds or minutes to reset the system. All right, so our VM, our virtual machine was reset successfully. So I can open it again. But another thing is, I want to try to access. I want to try to first of all let's authorize, and then so that I can access now the terminal. So if I open this one, click open, this now will open our app. Can copy the IP and then try to open a different browser like this one. But you see the thing is, this one is redirecting to HTTPS, but we don't want HTTPS. We don't want HTTPS. We want HTTP because we don't have a version of HTTPS. So with HTTP now we are able to load our application. So application is working with our site is working with HTTP, through HTTP. Okay, so if I go back, close this one. If I go back to our application, this is the application. So a couple of things we need to do. First of all, you see that we are using this default Nginx. So we need now to create, first of all, edit the Nginx configuration, and then also update our, create our app. But first of all, we can also try to test our domain. So to test our domain, we can, since our domain is a SM software, we can try to load it. We see which version is loading here. See, loading HTTP. So we can also test this one. This one, no. Here, we can test our domain by doing a ping to see where is if the domain is responding. Ping smsoftware.org. This is actually loading. This is loading and is pointing to Google IP. Okay, now that is loading, but it's also the problem of SSL. Sometimes the SSL can take long, 10, 15 to 20 to 30 or more minutes. So you can just wait. But meantime, you can work on this one. All right, to work on Nginx, I got a couple of comments here to run. I don't want to type everything because of the time. Okay, so first of all, we need to create our app. So what is the name for the app? This is just this is our application. This is our application, the actual application we are going to use. So I just use the README here to add the NGX configuration. So this is the configuration which we are going to use. So I will copy this and then paste in our NGX configuration. First thing, we need to create our app, NGS site. So what is the name for the app? What are you going to call your app? I can call this one SM software, like this. So if I copy this one, this is the first command you need to run. I can copy this one, go to uh, here. The command is actually just ac access the site, nano, sudo nano, and then ht etc slash ngx slash site available, and then the name of the site. So the nano, if the site doesn't exist, it will create it automatically. This is what you're trying to do here. So what I can do is I can do sudo etc ngx slash sites available slash CMS software, like this. Doesn't exist. Sorry, supposed to add nano. Nano. Nano is the text editor, so it doesn't exist. That's why you create a new one. So once you create that, so we want to add our configuration. So we want to pass this configuration. This is the include the configuration. So what I can copy this one, and then I will explain to you what we need, what we have in there. Here, and then I'm just going to paste this one here. Okay, if you go back to the top, start from the top here. So this is just the configuration. So load the configuration, the main configuration file, and then we also accept. I don't want to explain everything to catch the time, because this course is not about the NGX. It's just about deploying application to live server, which is Google Cloud. But I can explain a little bit. So here are the side settings. I want to explain to you the port, which is more important. So we have port here. The port which you are listening to is a 8, and then the domain name, we need to pass now our domain. So I'll leave also the configuration, this configuration file in the detail, or to my GitHub repository, where you can actually get the file. So CMS software, that's the name for our domain.org. Okay, so if we hit that, if the user hit that, we want to go with so this is a local host. If it's a local host, internal local host, this one, we are not using that one. But once they hit that, so we want to make a request. So we want to check where is our application. I could do the best way to explain to you is here actually. Okay, so once you hit that, we make the user make a request. So the location for our static application, which is so we need to access var www, and then application will be here. So application, you can just name it CMS software, like this. So we load that application, and then the rest is just some configuration here, increase maximum body size, all of this. So I'm not going to explain to you all of this one. Okay, so we can also, this is actually the default HTML. This default HTML, the one you see here. This one is the page here. So you can change this to point still pointing to the same app, or you can leave this one, or you can also change a default one if you have a default one. I will show you where it is, but I'm just walking you through some files we have. But if I copy this one, you can go back to here. Let's see. This is the one here. So you need to add the name for the folder, which we don't have yet. Same software, and then the other folder is this one. We don't. This one exists already. This is the one here. This is the one Nginx is loading. Okay. So if now, um, oh sorry, this is the one we're working on. So if now user hit the URL here, which is this one. Where's our URL again? Yeah, if user hit this one, so we can add the domain, and then also add the IP address, or you can also add the subdomain. So depend all the version, but I just want to save this one, so we will get back to the rest one later. So I can do Control X to save. I just press yes and enter, so this will save that one. But after that, we need to enable that one. So to enable that, you see that we need to enable, let's see. So the name for application, which was now, this is the name for that application. So you can put the name here. So we can now enable it to the front. I want to show you what I mean. So if I do cat slash etc slash Nginx slash enable site, or is it site enable or enable site? Oh, site enable. Yeah, site enable. So if I do like this, the direction does not exist. uh, Sorry, you could do ls. I could have done ls. I want to see everything in there. This is what I'm trying to do, and then site enabled. Yeah, so it's only the default one. So this is the default one here. This one you see. So what we want to do, we want to um, I keep going back to that VS Code. All right. So what we want to do, we want to also enable that SM software. So if I do ls HTC Nginx slash site available like this, cannot like this, oh, ngs Nginx site available. But first of all, let me just enable this to save time. I don't want to that's why I can copy this one. So we want to add this one to here, to link. Oh, sorry, keep opening the VS Code. So if I paste this one, press enter, and then now back again to site enable. Which one was it? Now we have that SM software here. We need to we need to because we have actually currently we have two sites running, so we need to disable the default one. So I can paste this command. So sudo remove from the enable side, so we need to remove that one. So if I go again, so you see that, so we remove the default one, so now we only have one. But so we can do sudo Nginx to see the status. Um, test failed. Looks like we got an to check the errors. Get the directive is not allowed. Have mm, the file test failed. Okay, so looks like we got a problem. So we need to check that error first. Let's check for this error first. Right. So we remove the. I did some update here to remove the global configuration. Global configuration. So here is just a site, so we don't need to have everything in here. So just have a site listening on port 8, and then our domain. We pass our domain, and this point to our app, which we don't have, so we need to create this one, and then also the security, all of that. But first of all, we need to copy this one. What I can do is I can copy everything because I need to replace the one we have in there. So go back here. If I go cd um, htc etc ngx slash site available, like this, and then if you do ls, this is what we have. So if you do nano, sudo nano, oh sorry, sudo nano sms software. So open that one. This is the one we have. So we need to delete this one, or you can rename it to something else. But what I can just do, because I don't want, I can do rename or remove the same software, and then I can do sorry, and sudo nano sm software to create again. So this will create a new file, the same one, and I can paste this one in there, and then just save it. Okay. Now, if I do again, want to test again. Okay, now you can see the file is okay, the syntax is okay, but something, we don't have this file here, this folder. You see that it's supposed to be in var /var/. So we need to go. You need to go to find this one first. So to find this one, you need to find that one first. To find this one, you um, can do cd/var www. So this will take us back to here, and then navigate back to var. Let's see. And then if you do ls, we have that html. If I go to do cd html and then ls, this is the only file we have. If I do sudo nano, this one, the file, this is the one we have. This is that ngx. Welcome to ngx. If I went, but it won't work because you remember we have disabled the default one, so it won't work. So we don't need to spend time here, but what I can do is back, and then I needed to create or can do sudo make g and then sm software, like this one. And then if you do ls, the the directory is there, but we don't have anything in there. So if you want, I can navigate to that HTML, and then I can can do sudo copy the file. This is the file to back, and then sms software. You need to copy it to there. So if you navigate back to SM software folder, want to see if that file is there, and do ls, the file is here. Now if I want to edit it, can do sudo nano same software is now here. So now we can edit it from here. So if I do this is not the application, the node application, so we'll add that. Okay, I can just say welcome to Node.js app, and then save it. But this won't work because we need to restart our what I mean we need to restart the Nginx. So we can do, to restart that, we can do sudo system ctl restart Nginx. Okay, now if we go back to the browser, this is the application. So we're supposed to see here node. Let's reload. Now get file not found. So the file not found, so that means we didn't find our file. The server didn't find our file. All right, so we need to work on to check what is the name. Is the name correct? All right, we need to work on that, and then also check the permission of the file, the folder. Right, so a couple of things you need to do. First of all, we need to restart the Nginx, but also you can go to, if you go to we go to our folder, Nginx. No, we actually want to go where is our application, var www, and then uh, want to go to the same software like this. So if you do ls, this one you can try to rename this. Can do sudo copy this one to just index.html like this, so make it easy. So if you do ls now, we have to yeah, I can actually remove this one, sudo remove this one. Okay, if you do ls again, you have this one. Okay, another change we want to do is if you go to Nginx, Nginx, and then site available. If you do ls, this is the one we have there. And then first of all, if you take the example for the default one, if you do nano, sudo nano default, you want to see what we have. It's actually empty. Why is it empty? Yes, cancel. Oh, it's here, the default one. So this is an example of the default one. You see the port. We need to run we need to listen on the port. This is the port you are listening, and then also we need to listen all port 8, the default server, and this is the route. This is the root. Sorry, yeah, this is the root and this is an index. So we need to make sure that we have this one in our site. Can copy this one, close this, and then if I do ls again, you see our application is there. But let's do sudo sm software. Sorry, sudo nano and then sm software. So open that one. If you want to see ours, we are listening in all. Um, listening in all, and then a couple of things we need to check on here, which is not correct. So we need to set it properly. Yeah. So we need to set this one properly. Okay, since it's editing, I prefer using I prefer to use VS Code to edit, so I can just copy and paste it in here, because to edit here I found it navigating is a bit slow, so you need to go fast. Right, so this is the one we had. Now with the default one, I made a little bit of modification, that's very little, to follow the default one configuration. Okay, so listen on the port 8 or all port 8, and then here we need now to pass our domain, which now you can pass smsoftware.org. Okay, and then now the root is pointing out to our application, and then index, since we changed it, remember we changed that, so we can use the one we changed it, this one, and then also default, and also security. That's it. So I can copy this one, can copy this one, and then go back here. If you do ls, this is the one we have, so I can do sudo remove same software, and sudo nano sm software, like this, and then I can paste this one in. So just have a look again. This is what we have. So we see pointing to the same to the same folder or application. Okay, so if I save, but remember this one want to work here. Why? Because if you load this, it won't work, unless you set this as default also. Because you know why? Because our domain is not loading SSL yet, unless we add also our API IP address here. But we just need to save that first. Save it, and then we need to do sudo system ctl restart Nginx. Okay, there's no problem, but you can also check if you do sudo Nginx to check the status. You don't have any error, syntax error. Okay, if I go back here, this won't work. Okay, actually this is loading now the other default, not actually the default, because we didn't set to for that one to load our application. If you see here that we only target our you only target this one, targeting this one. But if you want to, we can include this one here, this IP address. If you want to include this IP address here, and this is our private, we don't want to this one to be there. Instead, we only want to use this one. Okay. So for the default, what we should do in for the default, we can also copy. We can copy just redirect to the default to our application. So if I do sudo nano default, so this is the default, but instead to delete this one, we can do sudo copy default to default default dot old, something like that. So if I do ls, we have default dot old. So I can now remove the other default. I can do sudo remove default and sudo nano default. So get a new default, and then I paste this one there, so I can save it. So this is that just the same as our CMS software. So we just want to redirect also the default to application, but something we need to do there first. If I do, we need to do let's do sudo nano default. So we need to change here because we just want to test our application. But so that means we don't need this guy here. We don't need this IP, this URL. We just leave it like that. Then we save it. So I mean, any request you make to application, by default, will go to, it will load the other guy, our folder. So I can restart. Let's see, check errors. No, we can just restart. Okay. Now if I go back to application, this is the one. So we need to see that we are loading now another application there which you are not loading. So if you go back, if I go back to cd, I do cd and then just cd var and then www slash html, no, slash sms software, and then ls, we have this one here, sudo nano is oh, sorry, we need to correct this one. I need to correct here. So I can add welcome to Node.js app, and then save that. So I can restart. I can restart. Let's see. Okay, and then try to reload. You can see that not the app was actually loaded. So if I reload, we'll see now the welcome to Node app here. All right, guys. So this is just to show you that okay, now we are loading our HTML through this IP address, but we have two things here remaining. First of all, to load, to check our CSS is not loading. Sorry, SSL is not loading. Sorry, and also run now our Node application. So we need now to deploy. We can manually just send deploy our application to our server, and then make sure the node is running so that you can now load node app. All right, so if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. My name is Shaban Musomba. Let's go and do that. All right. I just want to mention or point some issues you might face when you are working with the load balancer and Google SSL. So you might find your application stuck on your SSL stuck on provisioning statue. So it just means that you have one of your subdomain is not working, or your domain is not pointing to Google. The record is not pointing to Google. So you can one of the thing you can check the record, make sure the record are pointing to Google, and then we have passed all of these steps to check if the record is pointing to Google. Your domain DNS is pointing, DNS server is pointing to Google, and then also you can also check if you have any subdomain. Make sure that that subdomain exists in the zone details and the DNS names here. So in my case, this one, members.smsoftware.org and plus smsoftware.org, which wasn't exist, these two. So I created them. So now you can see, now we have the statue active, and then also the my SSL is actually active. Is my SSL statue is active? You can see now. All right. So this one, if I reload, I can see that the statue is actually active. The statue is active. All right. Okay. Well, this is it for SSL. So we don't have any issue with SSL. So means that my domain, I can load it in any browser. If I go to, for example, um, Microsoft Edge, and then I try to load, this is the domain, you see that is loading, but we're having another issue, which means that we need to fix our Nginx. Right. Okay. So we need to fix our Nginx, and then also, right. So couple of things you need to do. We can modify, um, make a little bit of modification as you can do, or we can do node a sudo nano etc and the Nginx and site available, and then semi software. So we need to edit this one. But if you see what I wanted to show you that you can add, you can you see we need also to add the ww, add ww, but also down here we can point to HTML. We will change this once we start running our node application. We will change this. For now, we just want to test. So this also could be index.htm like this. So you can save that. Okay. Another thing is we also need to check. I have some comment here I can run. So we need to check if the Nginx the site configurations. So we can copy this here. So you can do right. Our application or SM software is pointing to available site, is there, is in available site. Yeah? So is enabled. Another thing is you can also verify if this is just the some steps you can follow to debug if you, in case you find any issue. You can also check we can check if actually the HTML exists. So you can do echo. Let's try if I can have enough space to type this one. I don't want to type much. So I can do echo echo, and then self hello, and Nginx is working. Nginx is working, or sudo t and then var www dot semi-software dot and then we pass the file we want to access to index.html. So if I click this one, you see that okay, the index, our Nginx is actually working. Yeah. Another thing is we also need to add the permission. So you can take the folder name. I like to use the VS Code. So I add the comment here, the command here. So I just copy and paste them. So I don't need to type much there. All right. So we can give the some permission to our folder, which is the to application, which is this one. So if I copy this command and then I add them here. Okay, but if you do that, you must restart your application. You can do start Nginx. Which one is this? This is the Nginx, so I can restart it. So I can do sudo system ctl restart Nginx, and then the Nginx will restart it. Okay, so I think we can now try to go back online, try to reload. We can also restart your this one. Can also restart the server. I can restart this one. So this may take a couple of seconds. If you make some modifications, so you need to restart this one. So once you restart this, even this IP address will be changed. This is not a static IP address, so that's why it doesn't matter. Anytime if you restart your server, you can see that right now we have a different IP address. But it's still restarting. After we'll have a different IP address compared to this one we have here. Okay, so we are waiting. Just give it time to restart the server, to restart, and then right. So uh, after restart my server, now you can see that okay, my domain is actually loading the Nginx. So make sure also you can restart, but another way also you can check for errors. You can do a sudo tel -f and then pass now, check now to go to var /log/Nginx. So this will show you error. Okay. For the error, another error you can face is instance. Is instance. So we are working to debug some errors, potential errors when we are working with the GCP load balancers instance. So these are errors, common errors we can work through. So make sure that your instance group, you got at least your instance group, got instance. If there's instance, you will see it here. So if, for example, I click here, I want to see the instance we have. So the current instance we have in that instance group, it will appear here. This is the one. So if I open this instance, I open the instance, I want to see. Okay, this is the one. This is the one here. I can see the name and the details, all of that. This is the instance. Okay, another, first of all, this is the instance group, and this is the instance we have in the instance group. So we only have one instance. Secondly, you can also debug the issue if your website is not working. If you find that you have an instance in the instance group, you also need to check. You can go to load balancing or load balancer to check which instance group are you using. You can go to load balancing here. So you can go to your back end. So this is the back end. So the back end will tell you everything. If I click this back end here, so it should first of all, it will show me which front end is using plus which um, instance group you are using. You can see, for example, here in use by instance in use by semi software load balancer, which if you open, you find that uh, this is the front end. Go to our load balancer detail. Yeah, this is our load balancer, which is the front end. You can see the SSL we are using, and our API address is here. So this is the load balancer front end. So if you go back to the same, which one is it? This is the same. Now we can also try to debug to find which now health check we are using, this one, and then you can also check to see which instance group we are using. So you can see the back end we are using instance group name is instance, which is here. And then if I open that instance group, you find that this is actually the instance group which we saw here earlier. This is the instance group. So if you go here, you find that we have one instance. So in case you find that you don't have instance group, you can always edit. Click edit, and then this will open. You can scroll down a little bit. You see the instance we are using is here, and you can delete it. We did this before, so you can delete and then add a new instance group. So you can always create a new instance group. You can also create a new instance group if you search for instance group. This one, take this one. So you can see we have instance group here. So you can create a new instance group. So make sure you select this one, new and manage instance group. So you give it the name, and then you can now select which instance you want to show. So for example, I only have one instance, so you can select so only instance you will have it will appear here. The list of instance will appear here, so you can select which one you want to use. All right. So this is just overview for what you have seen, and also how you can debug some issues, the common issue. All right. Our application is running. Our Nginx is Nginx. Our application, our website is running with Nginx. So if I go back to this application to show you what we are loading, if I go to or I do cat, um, want to access, sorry, but want to access, want to go to var and then www and semi software and index.html. So you see the title we have. If I edit, I can say edit sudo nano edit. That one, you see that we only have title, I can so any HTML template you post here to work. If, for example, I can go to www or W3 school as HTML. HTML tutorial. You can get any template here. Uh, any template here you can get. Let's take just one example. This is the template, so I can copy just this template here, and then I go back, replace with this one here, press start, save it, and make sure to restart your Nginx. Nginx. So if I can close this one and this one, so if I reload now, you'll see that HTML template here. Okay, all right, guys. So next we need to work on now on Node.js. Okay, guys. So before checking for Node.js, so I want us to first of all to check the project. Which project are you going to use? All right. I have an application which we created in our previous video. If we go to you can go to my channel, and then I'll show you the application which the application we created last time. What was the name again? This is the application. We have a playlist. You can see that we can show you. This is a playlist which is actually here, and you can check the link. The link. I think the link is somewhere where you can actually find the link for that application from the GitHub repository. Yeah, here is the link. So you can actually, if you don't have an application, you can follow along with this one. If you just want to deploy to see how you can deploy your Next.js or Node application, any Node application to uh, a production or to Google Cloud platform. So you can follow along with this one. Just go to this GitHub and you can clone the project. Just clone, and then now you be able to follow along with us. But I have a application in here. This is the one I have. Um, I can open this application with the VS Code. Open it with the VS Code. I don't need this one. Then also, oh, sorry. Actually, supposed to open a single application, which is this one. So I need to do something like to open the VS Code. All right. So I need to open also the terminal because we have a couple of things to need to do in here. First of all, I need to remove the Git which you have in here. So I can do remove rf all say .git. So I need to remove the Git, and now there's no Git anymore. So before to run again to initiate Git again, I can go to. So what I want to tell you is that okay, we want to use Bitbucket because this one is private. This one is private. If you want to, you can go with the GitHub, but I don't want to go. I don't want to use GitHub for this one. I want to use Bitbucket because this one is private. So everything here, no one can see them. For example, if I take this one and I try to access somewhere, so you cannot access it because they're all private. Even if you sign in, you cannot see this one because they're private. Okay, you sign it, unless you decide to set it to public. So what do you want to do if you don't have an account? You can go search for Bitbucket. Bitbucket, this is the one. So once you get there, sign up. You can even join with you can join with your email address, and then you just will take you to the page. So after that, you need to create a project. So you need to create a project. So enter the project name, which is a repository name. So we can go create a repository, and then we give the repository name. So for example, this is my repository name. You see, this is my repository name. So after that, you will need now to create a project in the repository, which is now this project. This is the project, which is SMS software. The project is SM software apps, and then the current one I'm working on repository is SM software app. So this is what once you create a project, it's not complicated. You just create a project, and then um, after that you can now copy this link. You copy this link here. We need this link. You can now go back to the VS Code. So I want to initiate the Bitbucket, the Git. So I can do Git init, and then this will initiate the Git. This will initialize the Git, and then next I can do Git remote add origin, and then I can paste that link here. So this is that link. I can paste the link. So if I let's see, add origin apps. So we want to push to this which is apps. Okay, let's try to run the command. You see, if it's not working, you can always come back to update the link. Doesn't matter. So I can do git add all, and then I can also do git commit, and we just do initial commit, something like that. Initial commit. Okay, and then we can now push. I can do git uh, push git push -u origin, and then origin main. Refer to what's the origin master. So give it time to push. The origin master does not exist, so we need to check for this one. I think it's because of this one, because of the main. We supposed the URL is not good, so we need to check on this one. Right, so since this one looks like this is not the correct URL, so to get the correct URL, you can go back to Git, to Bitbucket, and go to clone. So you need to get this one from here. up to here. So copy this one. So okay, now to update, if the URL is not good, you can do git remote set URL and then origin. So you pass now this URL here. So if you set now, the URL now was updated. So we can now try to push again to, let's try to do git push, git push, and then git push origin, let's say origin main. Let's see, failed to push to origin main, but you can push to origin master. Let's see. Okay, so we need to sign into git faster. So you need to sign into git first. So this is another thing also I want to talk to you about, that since we don't have the password, if you want to sign in, they require the password. Let's try to go in the browser. So you can go to git. This is the one, grant access. Okay, authentication successfully. Okay, now let's go back here. Let's try. Now it's pushing now. Now we are sending now to master. But also if you want to send it to different branch, so you must change it. So if you want to do kit, you want to pull, you can do here, can do the same URL, blah blah blah, and then pull request, and then you this one. But let's go first of all to the git. This is the one. Let's try to reload. Okay. So now we have another branch here, which is master, and then application is here. So if now we want to clone, you have to clone now from this one. So now clone from this one. But before cloning, you need to set the password. So we need to set the password. Why? Because if, since this is private, everything for Bitbucket, our repository is private, unless you decide to set it to public. So what you need to do is we need to set the password, so that now once you go to our server, to Google Cloud, so that we can now put the password when we are we want to now to pull or clone the application. All right, so let's see how we can update the password, or create the app password for our workspace. So to create that, we can go to settings. I say settings, and then personal Bitbucket settings. Right, so here we can set different things. Sorry, include the website, so we can actually copy our website, this one, and then also pass it here. We can set different things, avatar, if you have avatar to update, to add. Okay, next, for password, for password you need to go down here and then password. Okay, we don't have any password, but you can generate one and click generate password. So this will generate password. Let's say, for example, the same software, let's say workspace, workspace, like this. Permission. So we want to give the permission. What do you want the user to do? So you want the user to pull a request. The password, what the password can do? the password can pull a request or read. This is what we want to do with this password. This is the only thing you want to do. But depend if you want to add things like update, repository, read, update, all of this. We can do it here. Okay, so you can see this is the permission we have here. So I don't know how much the permission you want, but this one is correct. So I can just create. Right, the password is here. I'm going to copy this. So don't use mine because after this I'm going to regenerate the password. So don't use mine. Try to use yours. Okay. So next now we need now to pull now our app from the server. All right. So to clone, first of all, we need to go to our shell, to our terminal. Sorry. This is a terminal. So what we want to do here is first of all, if we do git, we don't have git installed, so we can install git. You can do um, sudo apt install. We can do update. Can do update space update and sudo apt install. Now we need to install git. So this is going to install git. So just give it time to complete the installation, to install the package. All right, so the kit is there. Remember, we are not using SSH, SSH to uh, to clone the application or to get the application. What we want to do, we want to use this URL. So I can copy this one, copy this one, and then I want to go where I want to go to my folder where I want my application to show. So this is going to be var, then www slash some software in here. So if you do ls, you see just we have index, only index here, but I can clone. I can paste this one here. If I type this, you require the password, but I will get an error because the permission. So I can do sudo and then clone. This now require you the password. So I need to put my password in. So can copy the password here. You see the password there. Copy. Don't use mine because I'm going to revoke the password. This password after this video. So I can paste this one. And then I'm just going to clone the project and that's done. If I do ls, now you see you have app here, and then I can navigate inside that app here. I can do ls, but we don't have much, so we have an error. Why? Because we don't have a content. Why? Because the what we clone is doesn't have anything there. So to fix this error, I can go and so we need at least to make sure that master can access this, or another way to do that, you can insert, we can add to main, because you see that we clone the main which is empty, but the content application is actually in the master. You see, so if here by default, once if you want to clone, you see that is cloning the main. So we need to fix that error so that we can clone the main. It's not an error, it's just the way we are pushing it. So we need to work on that first. So I can first of all delete this one. I need to delete this one first. So I can do sudo remove and then this one. But since it's a folder, I need to remove folder include the file. Uh, remove folder and file, then pass the name for the folder. So if I do again ls, that one is gone, but I need to do something here. This is the one I want to use. So this is the URL. So I want to do clone. I want to do sudo git clone, and then I want to specify the branch, which is going to be master. This is the one. So I want to copy this one. Then go back here. So I want to paste this one. Now we require the password. So if I take, and let's try to put the password again, I can just copy the password and then paste it again. Okay, now let's try to do ls. We have again the app here, so I can cd to the app and then do ls. Now we have everything in here. All right, guys, so congratulations. Well, next we need to set up a couple of things. .nv, we need to create .nv. We need also to check a couple of things here to make sure that application is running. And then also we need to delete, we need to remove everything in here to the main folder. I see, to the main. All right, step one, we need to copy everything in here, all this, to the main folder. So what I can do is, I don't want to type all the everything, so I can copy this from here. So what I can do is sudo, can do sudo copy everything from Semester software, actually Semester software slash app. Let's see, slash Semester software underscore app. Copy everything, so I can do everything. So to here, because we want to add it in here, so I want to add it to var ww, and then just up here in this folder. So if I press that, okay, can go back to the main folder. This is the main folder. Now if I do ls, now we got everything in here, but now you see the index is still here. We don't need the index, so we can get rid of the index. We can do sudo remove index. Okay, if I do ls, the other folder is still there, it doesn't matter. So we need to create a .env file. So to create that, I can do sudo nano .env file. Okay, now the env file is there. So we need now to pass now environment variables, which we had there. We need now to pass that one here. So I can go to my application. This is the application. If I go to .env local, so this is what we got in here. So make sure that you to get yours to generate the secret, all of this one, and then also this one will change. And here, next base URL, we need to update all of this one. We need to pass production, all of this one. So we need to pass to update most of these things. Right, so we can rename this to production. Production. For this email sending, all of this, so we'll set this later, even the database. So don't use my database because I will remove it this later. So for the URL, we're going to pass our website, which is smsoftware.org, but it's supposed to be um, https smsoftware .org, like this. So for the name, I just want to keep to SM software like this. I like that one. The rest we will change it. So we'll work on regenerating the key for production, all of this. So I can copy this one. The key, don't worry about it. So we can generate a new one. So you can also do it just, you can do this by your own. So I'll copy this one, go back to application here. I can paste this one here and save. But if I do ls, the environment variable is there. I don't know. I can try to. I can copy. Can do sudo copy dot env to dot env dot production. I'm not sure about how Next.js handle this. Because for local environment we do that nv. See, for example, here we do .nv.local here. So I don't know if for production how we're going to do this. I haven't tried to search for it, but I just want to change it this way. So if I do ls, the other one is still there, but you see that we have two now. We have ls, if you can clear, then I do ls. Where's the other one? I can't see it. Looks like the other one is not there, but you can do ls minus la to see the hiding file, which now we can see is here. So if you want, we can actually delete this one temporary. We can delete this by doing sudo remove.env, and then if you do again ls minus la to see everything, you see now we only have this one. Okay, clear. One thing is we can try to if I try to run, let's see, first of all, we don't have a node. There's no node in here. So you can do npm or sudo npm install. So this will install the nope, sudo npm install. So this is supposed to install the dependencies. So since we don't, looks like we don't have npm, because we need to install the dependencies so that we can now run the application. Right now, if I do sudo system ctl and then restart Nginx, restart, and then I go back to application. You see, this is the application. So if I reload, this won't work. Yeah, because the application is not running. So we need to run the application. So we need to install the node, because you can the dependencies. You can see we don't have the dependencies here. If you see what we have here, that we are missing dependencies. So we need. So what we should do now is run sudo and npm. So I can just press this command here, sudo npm install. And also remember, we have I have in this application been developing in the past days. So this application, we got an issue with the React version with the Material UI version. So that's why I have to use we have to use uh, dash dash legacy dash pure depths. So after that, we can do npm run build like this. Like that. That's okay. That's correct. Let's try sudo npm run build. Um, okay, let's try next not found, but let's try. I don't know where is that issue coming from. We can check on that. All right, so here we can run. You need to run to install Next.js to install Next. So what you do is I try to install I try to install early. So this one and this it may take couple of seconds, couple of minutes because we got like 100 and something packages. So you can do just clear this one. We can do sudo install sudo npm install next, and then also you can if you don't have material UI conflict with the reactor, so it's fine. But if you do have, you can do dash dash legacy dash pure and depths. So this will install all the packages. So this may take a couple of minutes because it's got much of packages. So once the installation is completed, so if the complete installation has completed successfully, you can do again sudo npm run run build. So to see um, now it's creating now a production creating now an optimized production build. So we have to wait for this to complete. I don't know how long it's going to take. All right. So guys, I just want to talk to you about some error you meant to run into when you are running build. So for example, I want to show you first of all, you might get this error here because of the memory. This server, the server or the VM I have is very small. The memory is small, is 1 GB. And for Next.js, you require at least 2 GB of RAM so that you can run the build. Right, so what I did here is I have a couple of commands here. So here, first of all, I need run to check the memory, the free memory, which was very small. But now to create now the swap file or swap memory. So you can also use ChatGPT. It can also help you to debug the issue. So you can copy this code and then run it. This is the one you run here. This is only if you get this error. If you have a big memory, you won't get this error. If you have something like 2 GB, 4 GB RAM for the VM instance, it won't get this error. Right, so after that, now you can now enable the swap memory, and then you see the size now we have, the total we have, the RAM. And after that, see, we can now run the build again. So we can try to run the build again. So to see, I can try to run the build again to see how much time it will take. But this usually take time. It usually take time. So in most cases, this is something you can run on the local development, local server, a local environment, and then you just deploy the build to your application, the live server. So we are going to wait for the build to complete. The build was completed successfully. So you can see now, right now we have the build there. Okay, so um, we need now to check if the node is running. We need to install npm, npm and pm2. If you go to install, you can copy this one. Go to browser here. Right, so you can we can actually install it. It was added successfully. I also got, I can close this one. I don't need this one. Right, so I got some dependencies here, some command here to run. Okay, so we can first of all, we can check the version. We can do np2, check the version. Right, is there, and then we need now to start application. So to start application, we need to run this command. First of all, we need to navigate to our application. So this is I'm currently in the folder. This is the folder. So what I can just run I can just run this one. So I can run np. Sorry, this is not the one. So I can copy this command and run it. Right. Let's see. Starting verbing in one folio online. Right, so but we still also have another issue is with our Nginx. So we need to update our Nginx so that can listen now of application. If I go back to application, this is our application. If I try to, I can try to do sudo system to restart. System ctl and then restart Nginx. This won't work because we need to fix our Nginx. So this is the modification we have. Just a little bit of modification, but the only thing is we have a block here which we want to forward the request to Nginx and Next.js, sorry, Next.js server, which is running on a port 3000. So I mean, anytime you make a request, there is a hit here, so we will send the request to this one, to this local host, and the rest is still the same. There's no much change in here. All right. So what I can do, I can copy. I can just copy this one and then go back to this application. So I can try to go to, I can do sudo nano and then Nginx, so that can now edit our file. So this is our configuration file we have currently. So I can delete everything and then just paste this one, the new one in there. Right, so I can paste this one and then I'm just going to save, Control plus X and then Y, enter. So I need to restart the Nginx. That's the status. Nginx is fine, but I need to restart. I need to restart the system. All right. So, okay, we need to try now to go to our application. This is our application. Try to reload. Okay, now this application. Congratulations, guys. So this is now our Next.js application online. So you can see that we can actually navigate, access the block. So this everything is actually working perfectly. Can stop this. I can go to about us service and it's faster. If you see, navigation is very fast. Congratulations, guys. So this is it. Deploying your Next.js application to Google Cloud Platform. So this is not only Next.js. We can also deploy main stack application or any other Node.js application, including Vue.js application. A summary of our deployment on GCP: setting up a GCP account, created a GCP created an GCP account and configured the necessary permission, set up computer engine instance for hosting, configure Cloud DNS for domain resolution, load balancing, created an instance group to manage multiple instances, which also we learn how we can manipulate the instance groups and instance in an instance group, manage, remove, all of that. Configured load balancing to distribute traffic efficiently, deploying Next.js application, install the required dependencies and configure the Next.js environment, resolve build issued by increasing memory allocation, use PM2 to manage the application process, configured Nginx as a reverse proxy for better request handling. So we also use the Bitbucket for deployment, for security and deployment. Next, we will work on deploying main stack, which is pretty much the same thing as the one we did before, but for main stack there's no same requirement as Next.js. So we'll also work on Laravel apps, so we can also deploy any Laravel application. So for Laravel application, we will set up PHP, Composer, MySQL on GCP and configure Nginx and then Laravel environment settings, and also implement the CI and the CI/CD for automate deployment. All right. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.